Hi everyone, I'm Sharon from Little River Kitchen, and today I'm going to show you how to make butter using 2 ingredients, cream and salt, in your food processor. To make butter in your food processor, you just need to have the blade attachment inserted into your food processor, and just make sure that your food processor has a fairly good motor, because to turn the cream into butter, it's going to need to run for probably around 10 to 15 minutes, so you don't want it to burn out. The other thing you're going to need is your cream, so you can just use pouring cream. I have made it with thickened cream before, but it is better not to have those additives in there. It will last longer without them. And some salt, so this is just granulated sea salt. And we'll use that later to flavour our butter. You don't have to flavour it if you don't want to, if you want to use your butter for baking, but if it's for eating, a little bit of salt really does improve the flavour. The other thing we're going to need is some cheesecloth, or you could use a linen tea towel or something like that, a sieve and a bowl to collect the buttermilk that's going to run out of that. And the other thing you're going to need is some iced water. So that's what we need to get started. So the process is we pop the cream into the food processor, we're going to turn it on, it's going to go through the phase, it's going to thicken, it's going to turn into whipped cream, and then it's actually going to separate from the buttermilk. And it's quite a magical thing to see. Your kids are going to love it. If you've got kids, get them in here and give them a go at making butter. So it's a really great visual thing for them to see and get involved in making their own food in the kitchen. So to get started, we're going to pop our cream into our food processor. And to that, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt. You can add this at the end if you wish, but I just find it easier to incorporate at this stage. This is a litre of cream that I have used, so I'm using 2 teaspoons of salt in there. And now we're just going to pop it on, and it's going to run for around about 15 minutes, but I'll stop it throughout the process so you can see what's happening. But for now, let's get started, and we'll turn this on. Now at this stage, it's just starting to look like thickened cream or whipped cream. So I'll just show you the consistency. So it's quite thick now. So we'll pop the lid back on that now and we'll continue. So that was going for probably around about 3 minutes. So we'll just take a look inside to see what's happening. So it's been around 5 minutes, and what you can see now is the whipped cream is starting to separate. So, you know, if you've ever done that before, when you've made whipped cream, you'll see that it starts to look a little bit curdled. So this is the first stage of the butter fat separating from the buttermilk. So we'll turn this back on for another 5 minutes or so. So after just a minute, we can start to see some real change in our cream that's in there. The butter fat started to clump together, and you can see here that the buttermilk's starting to separate from the butter fat. So we shouldn't be too much longer. So we'll pop the lid on and we'll continue. At this stage, it'll start to get quite sloshy. You'll start hearing a different sound running in your food processor. So after just another 30 seconds, we're ready to take another look. And what you'll see is that butter's really starting to form together and release that buttermilk. So at this stage, it's time to take it out of the food processor and pour it into our bowl. At this stage, we don't want to use the cheesecloth. We just want to get rid of all of that buttermilk, because this is really great to use in pancakes, or you can use it in place of the liquid in bread, things like that, but it's not true buttermilk. So to have true buttermilk, you need to use cultured cream, but that's easy to make. If you wanted to make cultured butter, all you need to do is add a couple of tablespoons of probiotic yogurt to your cream the previous night before, leave it on the bench to culture overnight, and then chill it down and use that to make your butter the next day. So I'm just going to decant this buttermilk into a jar, because I would like to use this later, and then we're going to wash our butter. So once we've got it on the bowl, keep pressing it, and what you'll find is that more of that buttermilk will release from the butter. So it's important that we get all of that buttermilk out of there, and you can see, look how much liquid we're getting out of that. So make sure you decant that into your buttermilk if you're saving it. So the buttermilk freezes really well as well, so don't throw it out if you don't have a use for it straight away. So I'll just show you now, look at that. Amazing, look how much butter we got out of that 1 litre of cream. So that's quite incredible. So if you're like me and you buy cream all the time and then you don't use it quickly enough, or you forget what you bought it for, turn it into butter, put it into portion sizes and pop it in the freezer, and you'll have your own beautiful homemade butter, and at least that cream hasn't gone to waste. So now at this stage I'm going to wash our butter. So to wash our butter, I've got my ice cold water. I'm just going to pour that on top of our butter, and now I'm just going to use my spatula to work that ice water in and around the butter, just to try to release. You can already see how that liquid has started to turn quite milky, so that's more of the buttermilk that's being released. So you can use your hands at this stage. Sometimes I find it easier to wash the butter using my hands, but because I'm videoing today, I don't want to get all messy. So now you need to get rid of that excess liquid, and we're going to add some more iced water. So keep working that until the water runs clean. And then I'm going to wrap it in some cheesecloth, and I'm going to squeeze it just so that that extra bit of buttermilk that might be hiding in there comes out. So the water's staying quite clear now as I mix it. So now I'm going to wrap it in some cheesecloth and I'm going to squeeze it out, and then we'll have our finished butter. So now we've got our butter onto our cheesecloth. I'm just going to pull up the sides and twist it into a knot, and now I'm just going to squeeze just to get, look at that, all that extra buttermilk out of our butter. So just keep twisting it just for it to get rid of any of that extra liquid that might be hiding inside there. And there you have it, your beautiful homemade butter. I reckon this is just the coolest thing. We've made all this butter from 1 litre of cream. It was super easy. It took around about 10 minutes in our food processor, and I can guarantee you, if you had little kids standing there watching that whole process, they'd be pretty amazed at this too. So if you like this video, hit the subscribe button and leave me a comment, and I'll see you next time.